Welcome to Reality T times 2, the podcast where we discuss all the trash reality TV we love to hate. I'm Danica, and today we're going to be doing one of the, what was supposed to be a Christmas episode. We're doing it now, and it's the final episodes that we're going to be doing for this, or the final show that we're going to be covering. Because I think not sure how I'm doing it between 90 Day UK and this one, but you might be getting some of these before 90 Day UK is finished, so we'll see how it goes. But we're going to be doing Sneaky Links. This show so far is actually more dramatic than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be stupid. I mean, kind of it is, but I'm still here for it. But anyways, how we're doing this is we're doing 4 episodes of this show. Doing episodes kind of similar to what we did with Perfect Match. We're going to be doing 1 to 3, 4 to 6, 7 to 9, and then the 10th episode will be a standalone episode. That's how we're going to be doing this one. So let's get into the reason that we're here, and that is to talk about Sneaky Links. So, episode 1. We hear again, if you are a fan of Married at First Sight, we hear a very familiar theme song. It's all or nothing, it's all or nothing, and there's no other way. It's all or nothing. Yeah, that's all we hear when we first start. We meet Chloe, who is our host, who looks like a British Miley Cyrus. I swear I've seen this woman before because I remember there being a British Miley Cyrus, but lookalike, but I don't even know where I've seen her. So these people like to keep things casual, or castmates, but now they're looking for their one true love. They're trying to switch things up. So they're going to be tested by bringing in the people that they are casually fucking. They're sneaky links. So to see if there's going to be something there with their sneaky link. So we see kind of some of the people. I'm still kind of getting used to the main cast that we first had. That was like not Lucas, sorry, Nicole V, Brandon. There's wait, uh, see, um, Manny, who I hate, mind you, Zoe. These are kind of our main people. So when we see the sneaky links coming in, we see that there is Logan, who's kind of a surfer type of guy. He's not my type, but he's cute. He's with Nicole V, because we have 2 Nicoles. She said that he's her surfer man. And she said it was only supposed to be fun. That's it. We see Samira, who is she's my favorite. I think she's adorable. She's so cute. She has a banging bod. Manny should be freaking kissing her feet, as far as I'm concerned. More on Manny later. Can you tell I don't like him? Anyways, these 2, they met in high school. They've kind of dated briefly, he said, but she disagrees with that. She says, I think it might have been longer than just briefly, but it's kept it, casual, where they're sleeping with each other when they want to have sex. Like, that's basically all this is. Angelique is another main person, and they bring in Travis, who's pretty cute. Comes in looking like a little cowboy. Zoe later describes him as a black, or he's biracial. That doesn't matter. He's still black. Black Johnny Depp. I don't see it, but that's okay. She says, it was like a crazy thing. It was just a thing. They had a moment. That's that. Then there's this girl, or the girl that comes in for Brandon. That is Nicole S. And there's a little bit of tension between them. I don't know if we ever really resolve that situation, but then they don't kind of focus on the other people that came in, and I can't remember. I know Kyle comes in. He's cute. He kind of, not, he kind of looks like a guy that I was a sneaky link with. Anyways, back in my day. But Kyle comes in, he's with Zoe. Again, they were just kind of two people who started hooking up because they had a mutual friend kind of thing and whatever. I feel like there was somebody else that I'm missing, but I can't remember. So we then, after all of that, see Manny and Samira talking, and they're just worried about hurting the friendship. At the end of the day, even if they decide not to go further with each other, they just don't want to ruin the friendship that they have. But she says, what we are doing isn't working. Them just being each other's sneaky links. And again, let me preface this. They met in high school. She's 23, he's 25. So we're saying like they've been out of school like for her for like 5 years, him a little more. So they're still in that, in that place where, yeah, this is kind of the time where you kind of grow up a little bit, decide to do something a little different if that's what you choose to do. That's kind of where they're at right now. And that's okay. It's an okay age to kind of be like, this was fun. Maybe we can move on now. But yeah, they're just saying that this isn't working anymore. They're growing up and they want to do things differently. Travis and Angelique, we see them talking. She does not know much, or they don't know much about each other, I should say. They have been each other's booty calls, and that's about it. Again, it's not crazy. I mean, when you're watching this, it's like, how do you know nothing about each other? But it's not because, like, I mean, it's been a minute since I've had a sneaky link or a booty call type relationship. I mean, I've been in a relationship off and on now for 8 years, but pretty consistent now for about, 5, 6 years. So even and before that, I was married. I had some stuff in between the two, but that was that. And I haven't really been in a sneaky link type situation since I was 22. So I forget that you really don't know anything about the person that you're just sleeping around with. Um, I think the most I ever really knew about a person that it was just a sex thing, was that we both liked Twilight. And I liked that about him because not many men do. But that was that. And I mean, we stayed in contact very briefly, here and there, throughout the years. But like, that was it. I mean, I think I've only had sex with him twice, and that was it. So it's like, it's not crazy that you don't know a lot about a person that you were just sneaky linking with. Um, when I did have my friends with benefits, I did know obviously a little bit more about him. And we're still friends, but like that's basically it. Anyways, um, he's looking for his partner, but he's also in a rush. Can't remember how old he is, but he says he's in a rush because he comes across as a person who's, I hate to say it, free spirited, beats, goes to a beat of his own drum type situation. That's kind of how he comes across. Maybe he is like a black Johnny Depp because I feel like Johnny Depp's a little bit like that too. He just come across as a person who just does his thing, you know? One minute he's being killed by Freddy Krueger and the next he's a musician. And in between. Anyways, Brandon and Nicole, as we see them talking, apparently she ghosted him after she traveled to see him because he only sees her when he travels to wherever the hell she lives. I can't remember where she lives. If it's Nashville, I can't remember. Um, but she traveled to go see him, and he just paid attention to other women. Yeah, that would piss me off too. But again, my question is, if this guy is supposed to be a quote unquote sneaky link, w- why would you travel to go see him? Because like I would not waste my time nor money to go visit someone that just wants me for my poom poom. Like I just wouldn't. But that's me. And so I wouldn't necessarily be surprised because they're not committed. So yeah, he's gonna potentially want to pay attention to other women as well. But again, I don't know. But to me, it definitely looks like this is a person who wants more from him, but he missed the memo. I don't know. Um, he says that he's close off to dating because he doesn't want to get hurt. Hurt, yeah, sure, okay. But he does want to take this opportunity to get to know her, so we'll see. We see Kyle and Zoe talking. This is kind of when we learn a little bit more about them. They met, like I said, through a mutual friend. One thing led to another, and bada bing, bada boom. She always saw him as a homie. Now listen, if the girl you are sleeping with only sees you as a quote unquote homie, yeah, yeah, that's not gonna be a thing. She has friend zoned your ass. And the only time she sees you as not a friend is when you are playing the horizontal dance. That's it. There's nothing here. And like I said, like he's cute. And I love the idea as a Black woman to see Black love. It ain't here. Because as soon as I saw them, I kind of saw their dynamic. I'm like, oh no, that's not gonna happen. And when she said she sees him as a homie, I'm like, oh yeah, no, that's done. That's it done before it started. Anyway, he thinks that there's something there, but she, like I said, sees him as a homie, so no, she doesn't necessarily see that. He wants to challenge her. Anyway, oh, so yeah, one of the other people, Colt. Colt. He's here. His sneaky link is Avery. Colt is 31. She's 25. She's cute as a button, but she's done with a doornail. We'll get to that in a minute. Um, but we're already kind of hearing that Colt is kind of feeling Angelique. Angelique is the one who sneaky link is Travis. Black Johnny Depp, yeah. So Nicole V, she is all up in her feelings. She is upset, y'all, because I thought that I was here to find a husband. Logan, he's good people, but I'm not in a headspace to explore that right now. Why? And just out of curiosity, why? Because the thing is, it's like, at least with everybody else, we're hearing explanations. High school friend that we hook up with every once in a while. He's a homie. You know what I mean? We're hearing things, we're at least hearing some form of an explanation as to why there's no relationship past the sex. I'm not really hearing that from Nicole V on Logan. She's just, he's good people. But what, like, why don't you see something going further with him? Hold on to your butts because we will get an answer on that. And because I wasn't too sure on Nicole V if I liked her or not. I don't know why she looks familiar to me. But anyways, I kind of saw her and I'm like, there's something like, I don't know yet if I like you. By episode 3, it's over. I don't like her. So anyway, we see them checking into their rooms for the night, and that's that. Day 2, and it's time for the first challenge that they're going to be doing. We have some personal questions that are going to be asked. You don't have to answer them, but if you do, cool. Um, so what is your toxic trait? One person says, sometimes when I'm drunk, like I'll call a person over and over and over and over again. Oh, so maybe don't do that. Anyways, hot and cold is in someone else's toxic trait. Not letting go. That one was severe, y'all. Her toxic trait is not letting go. You don't say. Um, Unable to be direct and avoid conflict. Those are people's traits. What would be my toxic trait? Huh. I mean, again, I'm in a fairly healthy relationship. I don't think I have toxic traits now, but before, definitely my temper. My temper was my toxic trait because I could go real low really quickly and I could be really loud. So like that's was definitely for me. I changed that. My ex actually. He wasn't putting up with it. So I had to make some changes. Anyway, um, do you think girls and guys can be friends? The old age question that if you watch When Harry Met Sally, Harry says, nah, bro, we can't. But because this is the 21st century, some say yes and some say no. Where I land on whether or not men and women can be friends, I think it can happen. But in my experience, I've definitely had more men in my life that I would consider friends now that I definitely had a sexual relationship with first. Um, like if I think on top of my head where there was no sexual tension, no sexual correspondence, yikes, no, anything of that nature. Maybe one, maybe one. Um, yeah, two, but the second guy was gay, so that's to be expected. But yeah, no, definitely just one. Interesting. So maybe we can't. You can after, I guess. Anyway, so would you end things with your sneaky link if you hook up with someone else here? Everyone's like, no, no, I couldn't take it if I saw it. And it's like one person, I think it was Manny that said I couldn't take it if I saw it. And it's like you don't get to have your cake and eat it too. You don't. You can't. That is the problem with, let's just call it what it is, friends with benefits. It's very toxic. It can get very toxic. And it does get to a point though where you need to end said toxicity, and that sometimes can ruin the friendships. But if you have this way about you where you're like, no, I couldn't handle it, it's like, well, then man up. And because clearly to me, that shows me you have a jealous streak. Now, my friends with benefits didn't have that. Do what you're going to do. He knew what I did. I knew what he was doing. It was what it was. There wasn't jealousy. Well, maybe on my part a little bit, but I learned to deal with it until I couldn't handle it anymore. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. And I ended it. Then I'm at max. But it's, if you're feeling that way, that you can't handle seeing this person who you're not wifing up, then either you, like I said, do what you gotta do, be with this person, or stop it. Yeah, anyway. Um, I think, I don't know if I mentioned uh the coach. Is that what we're calling her? Her name is Spicy Mari. I've never heard of her. But anyways, Spicy Mari. Um, she's the one here that says you want the benefits package without the responsibility. A fucking men that. Exactly. These men, I can't. What's your body count? Brandon's like, maybe like 60. Colt is like, nope, I ain't answering that question. No. um, what's my body count? I'm not gonna answer the question. It's definitely more than 10, less than 100. But yeah, it's way, way, way less than 100. But it's like my partner knows my body count. I know his, but I think I've said this before, but he doesn't care. I don't care. But I can also understand why answering that question in front of the people for whom you are having sex with is a bad idea. Well, later on, we'll be doing a sneaky link, LOL down or something like that. It's called a link lowdown. But anyways, Brandon is here to explore other options, and Nicole S is feeling ignored by him. And because the other guys think they are locked in, no one else wants to see, or no one else sees her. I don't know if anyone else thinks that they're locked in. I think she thinks that people think that she's locked in on him. But I think it's just so early that people are still feeling things out. Anyway, Travis and Zoe are talking and getting to know each other. She's into him. Samira is watching Manny talking to Avery and getting to know her, and that's bugging her because she clearly really likes him. And I think the only reason that they are not together is because of him. He says as much later on. And yeah, that sucks. Colt and Angelique are talking and getting to know each other, so we'll see how that goes. Nicole V and Logan are talking. She said, since she had a breakdown, because the girl had a breakdown, she says, I had already thought this thing between us was just a fun thing, but I'm willing to be open minded, and we will see what Spicy Mari has to say. Now it's time for the lowdown. This is going to be where the tough conversations will happen. This conversation's not very tough, it's very quick. And maybe you'll need to be, checking out of the hotel depending on how things are going in your relationship with your sneaky link or relationship with other people. So when they go back to their rooms, they tell them there will be a phone where you can call whomever you want in this experience. You can hook up anything your heart's desire, whether that's just having conversation, getting to know each other, making out, or Lincoln, if you know what I mean. Colt is the first one to use the phone. The other people let it, simmer, but he's the first person to use the phone, and he calls Angelique. He says nothing crazy. He just wants to chill and talk. She feels a little bit intimidated by Avery, but she wants to end her sneaky linking with Travis. And this is what they say because he does go to the room. And this is what she tells him. And then they start kissing. Meanwhile, Avery in her room by herself is just like, I want to see how things can go with Colt. And she just wants to take her time to get to know him. Meanwhile, he's getting to know Angelique's lips. Anyways, and that was on a euphemism. That was just her lips. Anyway, episode 2. So Colt leaves. Nothing else happened at this point. Avery's like, I'm excited to spend the day with Colt. Meanwhile, he was literally locking lips with Angelique a minute ago. So Colt is choosing to keep his sneaky link private for now. And you're thinking, oh, so you're just going to go resorting back to your old ways. I think that would change. The next challenge that they're going to be doing is they have to build a tandem bike together. And then they'll have to go on a little ride, do a selfie, and then come back. Whatever. But we find out that Colt does not know how to ride a bike, and Spicy Mara is like, well, this is going to be interesting. The fact that you don't know how to ride a bike. Oh, yeah. But Angelique is feeling a little sad that Colt is with Avery because she wants to talk to him about how things were last night. She wants the time with him. So they have to take a selfie when they get to the point after they've made the bike. But Manny and Samira don't even take a picture together. Like everyone else is actually taking selfies together, making this fun. Whereas Manny and Samira are taking pictures, like Samira's taking a picture of him and then May's taking a picture of her. And she's like, do you want to take a picture together? He's like, no, we're good. Like, this man really does, like, even if you do not want to be with her, this is a person you've known for 10 years. Y'all didn't even say that before. 10 years that they've known each other. So it's like, you can't even take a picture with her. See, I know I did things different, and I know I'm unusual. I didn't get involved with people in high school. I got involved with the person I went to high school with when in college, but it was very quick and nothing to talk about. But that was it. I never got involved with anyone in high school, at my high school. I got involved with people outside of my high school, but this is why. Because it's just awkward and weird. And I mean, again, that person that I had a little thing with very quickly, I mean, I've seen him time to time since. Um, I mean, I think I saw him a year ago, I think. And we waved at each other, we stopped, we talked to each other, and that was that. Like, it's fine. It wasn't awkward or anything, but it didn't go any further than just like a kiss, like whatever. But it's just awkward. I couldn't imagine getting seriously involved with somebody that I went to high school with. Not really. Anyway, not that any of them were really prizes anyways. Um, so although Kyle and Zoe were the ones who finished first, Colt and Avery were the ones that grew the most. So because of that, they technically win and they get the first date, and Angelique seems very unhappy at the idea of him having this date with Avery. So Samira is talking to some of the girls, and she's just kind of come to some realization, I guess, based on how Manny's been acting, that maybe he doesn't value her friendship the way that she values his friendship. And while she's having a conversation with the girls, he's having a conversation with some of the guys saying that he believes that maybe they're holding each other back from finding the person for them. So we see Colt and Avery on their date, and I think Angelica could kind of see their date, but I don't know. She kind of was like looking, but I don't know. Brandon calls up Nicole S to hang out, and he tells her that he wants to focus on her and their connection. And we'll see. We then see Colt calling Angelique, and he's gonna go see her after the date that he just had with Avery. So yeah. We then see Manny calling Nicole V. He's like, "You want to come over?" Like, or like yeah, I don't like Manny. I just don't like him. Anyways, so both Samara and Logan can see Manny and Nicole getting close, and this is the next day. And Manny's like, "There is no Manny is like, there is no fun with Samira and no spark with her." But for me, it's like, but you're not even trying. This is a person that, like, you have sex with, fine, but, like, I mean, I think they do know each other a little bit more than some of the others because there is the history, but it's like, you don't know her. I feel like he doesn't know her as an adult. I feel like he doesn't want to get to know her as an adult outside of the bedroom, and it's like, you're not learning about who she is as a person. So how can you say she's no fun and there's no spark? I don't like, I can understand if you're trying and you're seeing no spark, but you're not even trying. That's how I feel. Anyway, Samira decides to confront him. And she says, "You haven't said anything to me." But he kind of just gaslights her a little bit here and says, "If you want more attention, like, you should talk to other people here." My honey, he is telling you exactly where he thinks you should be. He does not care that you maybe want time with him or that want to see where this can go. He's made up his mind. He doesn't say it's going anywhere. He's like, "I can see you're closed off," which maybe she is. Maybe she's uncomfortable, but that's not, she said, "That's not what we're talking about. Like, we're not talking about me getting to know other people. We're not talking about me, you know, opening up. We're talking about you ignoring me, you know?" Then everyone is playing Fuck, Marry, Kill. And Brandon, after the night before, he literally told Nicole S that he wants to focus on her and see where things can go, says that he would fuck Angelique, cool, 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 and kill Nicole. Sir, you couldn't even say marry Nicole. You had to say kill Nicole. And that obviously pisses her off and upsets her. Fair enough. And then here is the link lowdown. We're at that now, at that point. Zoe and Kyle, y'all need to do better. You ain't even trying. You're not really hooking up with other people. You're not even really trying to talk to each other. You need to do better. Manny and Samira, you have reached a crossroads. Where are you gonna go? Are you gonna explore the connection y'all have, or are you gonna end it? That's what I said. So you guys are living in the past and you're holding each other back, which is true. I think they are. Then are you going to end your sneaky link relationship once and for all? And Manny says, "It's a tough one, but I think it's time." And Samira agrees. And the thing is, I do think Samira agrees wholeheartedly. But I also think in this moment, she's following his lead. I think she thinks he doesn't want this, which he doesn't. And you can't make him want it. So I'm just going to follow his lead. And I'm going to be good with it too. I don't know if she's fully believes that though. I think she will get there, but I don't think she fully believes it in this moment. Um, but with that, it's time to check, with that is a time to check out. And that's how we end the episode too, thinking, is she gonna like apparently the power of who gets checked out of the hotel is on Spicy Mari. So you're thinking that is she gonna kick them out of the hotel? We come to episode 3 and she says, you have one more chance to stay in the hotel. So tonight they both have to call someone and ask them out on a date. The last chance. So Nicole V is thinking, oh, for sure, Manny's gonna be calling me to go on this date. But instead he ends up calling Avery, which I was not expecting him to. I didn't even know Avery was on his radar, but Avery is on his radar. He asks her out on the date. She says yes, and they kiss. Mind you, they were together. Samira calls Travis, and they're only talking on the phone, and asks him on the date, and he does say yes. We see Angelique calls Colt to go to his room. So, no big surprise there. Nicole V calls Logan, and she goes to his room. They're hanging out. They're playing cards together. Crazy eights to be exact. And she tells him that, Manny kissed me last night. Ma'am, you didn't have to tell him that. I mean, I understand like the transparency aspect of things. Totally get it. But you really didn't have to tell him that right now. And I feel like she's only telling him that to hurt him. Like I'm at this point, I wasn't quite there yet. I wasn't sure how I felt about her. It wasn't until the end of this episode that I'm like, okay, yeah, okay. It solidifies it for me. But I'm just like, yeah, okay, you just didn't have to tell him that. But um Logan is like, it seems to me that Manny is the type who kisses anyone because he's not the type to be told no. And true, I mean, Manny is a good looking guy. That's what you're into. And definitely is a guy who probably doesn't get told no very often. But I don't I don't get can we do better? Ladies, please, can we do better? Because I just don't get it. Anyway, Nicole S confronts Brandon about his comments the day before, the fuck Mary kills thing. He apologizes and says that, she's his priority. You're my priority. It's all lip service. She's not his priority. He is maybe sorry for saying what he said, but she's not his priority. He's full of shit. Hold on to why. Um, she says, I want to believe him, but I don't. Please don't. Don't believe him. It looks like Zoe and Kyle have decided that they ain't it for each other because he's her homie. But they also don't have connections with other people. So they could be in jeopardy of being kicked out of the hotel. Angelique says to Travis, you told me from the jump that you didn't want anything serious. Been there, done that. So she was guarded. Again, totally get that. And he gets that. But he wants her to feel comfortable to talk to him because she's guarded, she hasn't always felt comfortable talking to him. But what he needs to understand from a woman's perspective, when you are hearing a man isn't interested in a relationship for whatever reason, but you're only interested in the sex, we are going to be somewhat guarded, depending on what we've been through when it comes to men or relationships or whatever. So we are going to be guarded. It's a reflex. It's not even that we're always trying to be guarded. It's a reflex. It's a defense mechanism. We can't help it because we don't want to be hurt. It is our way, because we all heard the age-old thing, right? Men can have sex without feelings involved. Women can't. And I do disagree with that. I think women can have sex without feelings involved. Hello, I've done it. But there's always the risk that it can happen depending on the guy, right? If the personalities kind of match, if the conversations flow, there is always that possibility that feelings can be involved in, sneaky Lincoln. Um, so in order to ensure that as women, that we don't have the risk of falling for a guy who doesn't want to be with us or doesn't want to be with anybody. Life isn't, like the movies. It's not, the movie with what the movie called there? Um, there's two Friends with Benefits with one of them. There's another one, No Strings Attached. Life isn't those movies, right? This is real life. And the way to ensure we don't get hurt is that we get guarded. It's what we do. Um, but she says, I think that we could strengthen our friendship. So that's kind of her way of saying, I don't see us going any further than that. Colt talks to Avery and he tells her about the connection with Angelique and that he wants to grow that connection with her and just stay friends with Avery. When literally they were connecting. Like when they did the tandem bike thing, they were connecting. But that pesky Angelique. So what ends up happening is, Avery's like, oh, okay, yeah, for selfish reasons, I'm all about this because she seems to be leaning more into Manny, but I mean, she hasn't even had the date with Manny yet. You don't even know if y'all are going to connect. And you're already being like, oh, I'm okay with this because of Manny. You don't even know if you like the guy. You know what I mean? You know he's cute. You know you like him in that sense, physically speaking, but for personalities don't match. Like she's so quick to to be all in or all her eggs in one basket type situation for a man she doesn't even know. It's a really interesting. But anyways, we see Zoe and Travis talking again. Whatever. So we're seeing the dates now. The dates between Manny, Avery, and Samira and Travis. The dates are right beside each other. Like literally they can see each other's dates. Manny and Avery start kissing, and I mean Travis is not really into it. I think he thinks she's gorgeous. But apparently Travis does have a type. He prefers taller women. Um and I think the biggest thing being taller women. And poor Samira is like 4'9". She's even shorter than I am. And 'cause I'm short, y'all. And Travis is 6'5", which is about 2 inches shorter than my boyfriend. So, yeah, he prefers taller women because he is so tall. So I think it's because of that. It's just I don't think he's fully invested in this conversation, in this date. So when he sees Manny and Avery kissing, Travis is doing the play-by-play. And we're like, "Oh, they're kissing. You can look right now if you wanna look, they're kissing. Ooh," and he's starting to hold her hand. "Ooh, he's doing this, is," and I'm thinking, "My guy, they just ended their sneaky Lincoln. They have known each other for 10 years. Maybe we don't do the play-by-play." Anyways, Nicole isn't happy that Manny did not invite her on the date because, I mean, they had this thing, before all of that, and she's thinking, "Why didn't you invite me on the date?" Um, and she says, "It's giving little dick energy." And I'm thinking, no, how about he's allowed to explore their connection? Like, I don't like Manny, and I think maybe they belong together because I don't like her either. But I'm like, he is allowed to explore all of his connections here. So just because he didn't pick you doesn't mean he doesn't want to explore a connection with you. It just means he wants to explore a connection with her right now. So it's the party time, and Nicola is on a mission to not focus on Brandon, and it does not feel good for Brandon that she's kind of seeming to focus a little more on Travis. So Avery's a little awkward with Manny, and she kind of like I don't know. It was weird. It was very awkward. You could tell she was kind of fumbling over her words. It wasn't a big deal. But because of that, Manny decides, oh, she's the back of the list and I'm on to the next. And it's in this moment, I'm like, you're a fucking dick. Like, she's fumbling. She's human. To me, it makes me think that she actually really likes you. Why, I don't know. But she really likes you and she's just fumbling over her words a little bit. I don't think that's a bad thing. And he has to make it a bad thing because she's being awkward. Maybe he does have small dick energy, but it's just like, it's not that big of a deal. But he's like, she's on the back of the list. On to the next. Go fuck yourself. Like, it's it's so bad. I hate him. So he calls Nicole Fee, and Logan sees her going to his room, and he's over it because to him, he's seeing that she's not even trying with him, and she's not. More on that in a minute. Then we see Kyle calling Nicole V because he needs to make a connection in order to stay here. So he's calling Nicole V. No answer because, as we know, Nicole is with Manny. Then he calls Angelique. No answer. As we know, she's most likely with Colt. Then he calls Samira. And when Samira answers the phone, he's like, oh, finally. And Samira's like, what? He's like, nothing, nothing. Um, Want to come over for a chat? And she's like, oh, I'm getting ready for bed. So no, thank you. And she goes to bed. And he's like, well, 3 strikes, I'm out. He's out. Spoiler. Then we see Nicole S. calling Travis, and she goes to his room, and they start kissing. Logan admits while he went to Hawaii, this is the next day, they're all talking about like the best dates they ever had. And he says one of his best dates was, and he's admitting this in front of Nicole V. Nicole did not know this, that while he went to Hawaii, he met this girl. He had a great time with her. And he's like, partly why this maybe happened is because Nicole was ignoring him during the time that he was in Hawaii or felt like he was being ignored. Nicole's thinking that no, he kept telling me that he was lonely, this and that. Here's the thing. I think both things can be right. I really do. I do think that she maybe was talking to him for a time and that he maybe, because he's just, I'm not saying he's a sort of boy who has emotions. He does come across as an emotional kind of guy. And I do believe he was probably telling her, oh, I'm lonely out here. I wish you were here. Like he's being cute with her. But because she doesn't see him in a serious light, more on that in a little bit, she probably got the ick and just didn't want to continue talking to him in that moment and said, oh, go enjoy Hawaii and whatever. And just kind of maybe stop talking to him or, in Trisha style, whatever her name was, just gave him one word answers. So he did what he had to do and well, not so much what he had to do. He probably just met this girl and they connected and that was that. At the end of the day, it's not wrong that he did it. Why she's getting upset is beyond me. He is a single guy. You don't seem to be interested in him. He met a girl who seemed to be interested in him. What's wrong with that? Why are you upset about it? Why are you jealous about it? Because you feel like you were lied to? No, I don't think he lied to you. I think he just this happened and that was that. And for her, she's saying like, when he came back, I hooked up with him. That's on you, honey. I mean, you did what you did and that's whatever. He didn't do anything wrong. Hell, you didn't do anything wrong by sleeping with him when he came back, but like, he didn't do anything wrong. He's single. Hooked up with some girl in Hawaii. Then he hooked up with you when he came home. Like, there's, in my mind, there's nothing wrong here. And like, unless you guys were actually in a relationship, there's nothing wrong here. So we're now at the link lowdown. So Colt and Angelique got to check in at the spicy suite to have more time together because they have ended things with their sneaky links and gone public. Kyle and Samara, however, will be checking out of the hotel because they don't have any connections. Kyle, it was nice knowing you. Samara's a sweetie. I feel bad for her, but I think she was a little bit out of her element. I think going back to Texas, where she's from, will be probably better for her. The spicy sweet looks like the other sweets. It's not that big of a deal. It just has some roses in it. But they're like, oh, this is an upgrade. From what? Looks like the same room, except it has roses. Anyway, Nicole V and Logan are talking. And this is when I lose my ever loving mind on Nicole. He asks, why don't you want to be with me? And she basically tells him, I need more than what I have with you. And she's like, I need a fuck ton of stability. And I guess insinuating he doesn't have stability. So he says, well, if this is about money, I mean, eh, unless you've asked him questions. I mean, I'm sure she knows what he does for a living, but unless you've asked him questions about that, how do you know if he's stable? And she's like, well, not just about the money. Okay, then if you're talking emotional stability or mental stability or whatever else stability that's not financial, again, how do you know if you've never explored that side with him to know what he can offer with stability? And he says as much, he's like, well, you said, you think that money equals stability, which I think for some, yes. I would say for me, not so much having a lot of money equals stability. For me, a job that makes money is stability for me, makes enough money is stability for me. And I don't have a lot of expectations, but at least if you're making, I don't know, 50-ish K and up a year, I'm okay with that. I can make that work. So stability means different for everybody. I do think money, making money, whatever is stability for me, but I can also understand that stability does mean emotional. Do I feel safe with you? Mental. Can I have conversation where, I feel safe having those conversations? Whatever. There is so many different things for stability. Logan definitely comes across, I don't know anything about him financially speaking, but his personality, he definitely comes across as a person who feels safe and stable. And unless there's something else going on that we don't know, like I'm talking maybe mental health, which if that is the case, as a person whose partner does deal with mental health issues, as fuck who doesn't, so do I. If she is saying potentially, I'm just speaking on my ass here, that he is not a stable person because he potentially has mental health issues, fuck you. Because again, to limit yourself or come at a person's quote unquote stability due to their mental health is absolute bullshit. I really hope that's not what's going on here. And I'm not saying that's what's going on here. I'm just talking to talk here, podcast. So it's just, I don't know. But he just doesn't come across as a person who's unstable in that sense. Can't speak to the finances. He says, you keep driving your fancy car, this and that. So that's, to me, definitely sounds like he's equating that her idea of stability is money. And she's just like coming at him, basically saying, because you're a surfer boy, you're unstable. But he's okay for you to fuck then. Like, you're gross. She leaves, and you think that she's potentially going back to her room, calling Manny, but instead, she calls somebody else. And we see her going to that person's room. And when the door opens, it's Brandon. Y'all, she called Brandon. I did not expect for her to go to Brandon. I don't see a connection or didn't know that there was a connection between her and Brandon. But lo and behold, there is. But anyways, that is it, y'all. That is it for this episode. We'll be coming back soon with the other episodes. But until then, that is it for me, y'all. That's it for this episode. If you liked what you heard, bear with me because I have not done an outro for this, for the podcast in quite some time. So bear with me here. So if you liked what you heard, you can go to any of your favorite podcast apps. You can follow, make sure you don't miss a single episode. And you can also rate the podcast at either Apple Podcasts or Spotify. It'd be greatly appreciated. As a reminder, any 5-star ratings that are given to the podcast or any comments that are given to the podcast will be read on the podcast, which I have done in the past. If you want to connect with the podcast through social media, you can find me at Facebook and Instagram at realityt2. You can also find me at Twitter, TikTok, and Blue Sky at realityt2pod. I believe you can email me at realityt2 at hotmail.com, and you can have any inquiries, anything like that, any ideas, any shows or episodes you want me to cover, you can definitely do that over there. And I am going back to our old website, and that is at solo.to/realityt2. There you can get any of the links to anything that I didn't mention here, any of the socials, website, email, all of that. It's all there for you. And we also have a new thing there where you can help support the podcast as well. It's called a tip jar. And you can tip whatever your heart's desire if you want to support the podcast, but don't want to necessarily support the podcast in going to Patreon, for example, or any of the links in any of the advertisements. You can do it there. But since we're on the topic of Patreon, you can head on over to patreon.com/realityt2, where there you can get access to even more than what I do here. There are 3 different tiers where you can get these shows ad free, as well as our next tier up where you would get another reality show that's being covered. So, we have Jersey Shore that's been getting covered. That's still being covered currently at the time of recording of this outro, but the future is bright with what's to come in the future, which I will be discussing, or I have discussed. I don't even know. And then also our next tier is a true crime tier as well. So you can definitely head over for that. But that is basically it. I will also just quickly mention here too, if you're interested in a different take of a podcast that I'm a part of, we do things a little differently, you can head on over to Next Take Podcast, where I usually drop bonus episodes here on this feed, but there you get a lot more. And that podcast is making changes. We're growing, doing new things, but you can definitely head on over there if you want to just hear a little bit different than what I do over here. So you can find that podcast over at our website, solo.to/next take podcast. And there we'll have all the links to your desire that will link you to any of your favorite podcast apps or YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all of it. Social medias, it's all over there. But of course, you can still find that podcast at any of your favorite podcast apps. But that is it for this episode. We'll see you next time with another episode. Bye, everybody.